Hello, welcome to Swords Ed. Today we're going to be talking about inventions and inventors and some things we can learn about them so that we can become inventors and makers ourselves. We're going to be looking at Thomas Edison, the Wizard of Menlo Park, the creator of the light bulb and the electric company. So not only that, he was the inventor of the 19th century. Some of his quotes that probably are in most places would be that I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. We talked about that as being in our growth mindset, that he was speaking about the light bulb in that he had found 10,000 ways that don't work, but it only takes one to make it work. He is very driven. He talked about during his work, he would spend hours in his lab. He would work tirelessly working on getting his success-driven mindset, that he would be focused on a concept until he or his muckers got stuff done. He was creative. He not only would draw an example, but he would give many different iterations of the same invention to find one way that worked. And so he was also very determined. He was full of the growth mindset, and he was just a hard-working inventor and a very creative mind. He was the inventor of the motion picture, the phonograph, which was our first audio recorder, the alkaline battery, the electric car in the beginning before we really got into using gasoline, and he was the first creator of the electric utility company. We know it as GE, but it was also known as Edison's Illuminations. That was a part of his company as well. He was not just an inventor, but a businessman and a huge industrialist. He created over 1,000 invention patents and innovations for electricity, biochem, and many other different fields. So the future implications of what he created with the light bulb. Sometimes we just look at it and say, hey, this is great. But just like the iPhone changed many different things in our daily life, the light bulb created different ideas about how we can work. Now we can work at night. Day and night aren't the dictators of when we can be awake, but it created the idea of the city that never sleeps, the different shifts that people can work. It changed crime patterns in different towns because people would burglarize at night where there was no light, where you had to have a candle lit all night to make that work. You could have lamps going off in town, and so we had town lights, and so that changed crime patterns in different towns. It was the first time where we saw inventions meeting commercialization. It created competition between conglomerate CEOs and for that one model of their invention to be picked, and not just any invention. It created the idea of power plants, where everybody could have access to things that required electricity, and also modern appliances. Since everything needed wires to have light, it created the ability to have smaller appliances. Some societal factors, as we know, every invention is created out of necessity, and so one thing that Thomas Edison was known very well for, it was a learning experience for him. He created the first voting quick tally, the electric tally, where it could quickly take votes and tallies. So it didn't really sell well, and that was in his early 20s, and he made this quote in that beyond that. Anything that won't sell, I don't want to invent. Its sale is proof of utility, and utility is success. So he got his ideas of invention not just out of the betterment of mankind, but necessity, but also that it would sell. His values also dictated the different things that he would make. He made things that were bettering people, but also bettering his investments. People would invest in things that they wanted to create solutions for, markets for. These were demands of the industry, the demands of individuals. Henry Ford was a good friend of his. And so they created stuff together, keeping the car in mind for Henry Ford, but also keeping the light bulb and electricity in mind for Thomas Edison. And so Thomas Edison was an inventor, an entrepreneur, a businessman, and he was an industrialist. He was the inventor of the 19th century, and we have him to thank for us getting those bright ideas.